What's up guys? Today we're going to cover a topic that's been requested by a couple of people, and that's how to lose weight, how to lose fat without losing the muscle and the strength that you've worked so hard to build up. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm known for not giving you any fluff, not sugarcoating anything, not BSing you, and just giving you straight hard facts, okay? And if you don't know me, you're going to get to know me pretty soon, okay? But before we get into any of this, we need to talk about your mindset. We need to make sure that what you're saying or what you think is your goal actually is your goal, okay? Because you absolutely can lose weight without losing strength, without losing muscle. But put it this way, if I was to say to you, you can lose all the weight that you want, you can get six-pack shredded, but as a result of that, it's gonna cost you 10%, 20% of your strength and muscle in the short term. I'm pretty sure 99, maybe even 100% of people would take that deal. And if you're in the 99% of people who would take that deal, then you're in the right place, because that means you're now in the right mindset. Because when it comes to losing weight, trying to build muscle or trying to retain muscle is very difficult. I'll be completely honest with you, as always. But that's not to say that there's not some things we can do to mitigate the amount of muscle and strength that you lose. Because it tends to be that people see these two things at opposite ends of the spectrum. People are cutting or people are bulking. People are building muscle or people are losing weight. And what we like to do, I think a lot of the time, just as humans, we're kind of programmed to it, is go to one end of the spectrum or to the other end of the spectrum, to go to one extreme or the other. And if we actually kind of rein that in a little bit and take a bit more of a disciplined, logical, rational approach, you can lose a lot of the weight that you want to lose without losing too much of that strength and that muscle. So I just wanted to pre-frame everything I'm going to say and hopefully get you in the right mindset first, okay? So now we've got the mindset out of the way, let's get into some very actionable, straightforward stuff that absolutely every single one of you can do to lose the weight, lose the fat without losing too much strength, okay? So first and foremost, we need to talk about your nutrition, right? So I will assume that you have a basic understanding of calories and macronutrients, and you understand maintenance calories and your calorie deficit. If you don't, a very quick whistle-stop tour. Your maintenance calories is the number of calories that you burn at rest. It's based on your physiology, so your age, your weight, your height, and your sex, and your activity level. Now, we calculate this in a very rudimentary way. We take your body weight in pounds, and we multiply that by 15, okay? So that's your maintenance calories. If you wanna lose weight and lose body fat, you need to be in what we call a caloric deficit, okay? So it's where you're consuming fewer calories than your maintenance calories. And you obviously wanna be doing that for a sustained amount of time, okay? Now, most people, when they go into a calorie deficit, will go, like I said earlier, they'll go to one extreme, right? So they'll be like, right, okay, well, I need to go for a 500 calorie deficit or a 1,000 calorie deficit because I want all the results and I want them now. Because let's be real, guys, we're not very patient with this stuff. Like, one of the first questions I ask my clients is like, are any of your goals like time bound? And if so, why? Because a lot of my programs are either 12 weeks or 24 weeks, right? 3 to 6 months. I work with people in the long term to help them achieve like real and most importantly, sustainable goals. And I sort of say to them, like, is there a reason you're trying to achieve this super quick? You know, have you got like a boxing match or a UFC fight or something like that? I know the answer is no, but it helps them to kind of reframe their sort of, their need for speed, as it were, and helps them to realize that they don't need to be in too much of a rush with this stuff. Because as I say to all of my clients, it's far more important to get you on the right trajectory than it is to worry about the speed that you're going at. Put it this way, if I wrote you a piece of paper and it said, here's this piece of paper, on this piece of paper, it's gonna teach you how to make $1 million. And if you do everything on this piece of paper, you are guaranteed to make $1 million, but it's gonna take you a year. You'd be like, okay, cool, like, fine. But with our bodies, we seem to have this different relationship. We're like, no, I need to lose it all tomorrow. And it's like, why? Like, what's the rush? I would much rather put you on the right trajectory and send you in the right direction. And then there's gonna be times where you can go fast, where you're feeling good. There's also gonna be times where you need to slow things down. And that's absolutely fine, because ultimately we're keeping you on the right path. There's been studies done on this, right, by scientists and stuff like this, people far smarter than me. And they have shown that when it comes to diet, when it comes to nutrition, and when it comes to training and exercise and workouts, the number one predicator, the number one predictor, the number one measure of people who get the result that they want are the people who actually can adhere to what they've been given, their plan, their program. And the worst thing I could do as a nutritionist and as a personal trainer is to give you a plan that is so extreme that you can never possibly stick to it, right? So for me, it's all about sustainability. It's all about changing your mindset, changing your lifestyle. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we are in a small calorie deficit. Because if you're in a huge calorie deficit, you're not going to have any energy. If you're not going to have any energy, you're not going to be able to lift the same weights that you were before. And therefore you will start to atrophy. You will start to lose muscle. You will start to lose strength. And that will start to demoralize you. More to the point, if you're in a big calorie deficit, life will just feel very, very difficult. You have to remember, guys, your brain up here, your mind's it's more powerful than our brains even realize. It's kind of weird to say that, but like, we don't realize how powerful our minds even are, even though we're thinking and speaking with our minds right now, right? It's kind of a bit trippy that, but it's so true. We know very little about our brains in the grand scheme of things. And your brain likes to stay in what we call homeostasis. It likes to stay the same. Even if you're very unhealthy, your brain's primary job is to keep you alive in the here and now. So it will resist change. But then equally, the benefit is when you are super healthy, your brain will resist change there. So this is why it's always so much harder to get in shape than it is to stay in shape. Because once you're in shape, you've got those habits built in, you've got that homeostasis. Your brain's like, cool, we're here now. That sucked, but we've made it. And now I'm just gonna settle down and I'm happy here. And then if you start eating burgers or drinking loads of alcohol or sugary drinks or whatever, your brain's like, whoa, 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 what are we doing? What are we doing? And it will give you headaches, it will make you feel ill. It will resist the change that you are implementing, okay? So if you're starting to bring in a big calorie deficit, your brain's gonna be like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? And it's gonna slow everything down. It will make you more lethargic, it will make you more lazy, and it won't even make sense to you until it's 2-3 weeks down the line and you've gone, oh, that's why I can't be bothered to do anything now. So if you wanna lose the weight, but you wanna keep the muscle and keep the strength, we want you in a small calorie deficit. I would advise a 250 calorie deficit. So we're gonna calculate your maintenance calories based on your physiology, based on your lifestyle. Be honest with yourself about that. And then minus 250. And that is your kind of recommended goal calorie amount. Now, the next thing I would do is not look at your calories day to day. Don't say, right, I've got to eat 2,000 calories Monday, 2,000 calories Tuesday, 2,000 calories Wednesday. What I would do is multiply your recommended calories, whatever it is for you. 2,000 is just an example, by the way. Don't take that as read. Multiply the recommended calories that you've calculated based on your maintenance minus 250 and multiply that by 7. So that's for the week, right? So now you've got your calories for the whole week. And that gives you a lot more freedom, guys. It means that you can plan your week ahead. It means that you can go, okay, cool. Well, I know there's nothing really going on in life Monday to Thursday. So I'm just gonna have like a few less calories. And then you're like, oh, well, actually I'm going out for dinner on Thursday night. And then I'm going to be going for a beer on Friday. Oh, and I've got a date night with the missus on Saturday. So you can plan your week in advance. It makes you much more conscious and aware and disciplined and actually motivated to hit your goals when you look at your calories week to week rather than day to day. And also it avoids you beating yourself up if you have one bad day and you overshoot your calories or you eat too little as well, right? So calorie deficit, small calorie deficit, and looking at your calories in the context of the week rather than day to day. That is point number one. Point number two, obviously we want to continue with the resistance training, okay? But now the focus needs to be not so much on progressive overload, so trying to increase your volume, your lifting volume over time. But now the focus needs to be much more on just maintaining, right? So you want to, this is where it gets a little bit boring. I'll be completely honest with you guys. But you want to be going in and just, your goal is just to maintain that strength, right? To maintain the reps, to maintain the weight that you're lifting, to maintain the sets, the vitality, the energy that you've got. This is where you probably want to mix things up a little bit. This is where you might want to try a few new things just to add a little bit of variety and spice into the equation so that it prevents you from getting bored. So it might be that you want to start a new training program. Not necessarily to completely revolutionize the world for yourself, just to give you a little bit more stimulus, if you like, a little bit more excitement. But remember, the goal here isn't to be progressively overloading every week. The goal is to find what sort of a 7 or 8 out of 10 difficulty is and just to maintain that. You're going to have some days and some weeks where you just can't lift the same weight, particularly if you're a woman and you're in a menstrual cycle, you're definitely going to experience this. But for men as well, you are also going to experience this. And then that's fine. That's normal, guys. Your weight will also fluctuate day to day, like hour to hour, okay? So that's normal as well. But with your training, just remember that the fluctuations are normal and they're absolutely fine, okay? So take advantage of the good weeks, and on the bad weeks, don't beat yourself up. But the goal really here is to keep the resistance training, to keep the momentum, and to keep going, and to maintain as well, okay? And then I suppose kind of tying that together, the two things that tie that together are the consistency with this, so the consistency with the small calorie deficit, and then the patience. The patience and the acceptance that, like I said right at the beginning of this video, we want to set you on the right trajectory, on the right path. We're not as concerned about speed. Because if you are in a calorie deficit, you know for a scientific fact that you're losing body fat, okay? So it doesn't really matter if you lose 1 pound a week, 2 pound a week, half a pound a week, because you're losing body fat. There's no rush. You've got a long life. Don't stress it. Just enjoy it. Genuinely, I think sometimes too many people go too all in on too much stuff and they forget about the present moment. They look up in 3-6 months and we're like, well, I've got there, but I didn't really enjoy it. Like, enjoy the process, guys. I know that sounds cliched, but ultimately you're going to reach your goal, and then guess what? You're just going to want another goal. So enjoy the process of this stuff. Be consistent, but also be patient as well. On the diet side of things as well, one other thing I should have said is let's try and keep your diet as high in protein as possible for 2 reasons. First and foremost, it's going to help you to adhere to that calorie deficit because protein is the most satiating of the macronutrients, right? So the 3 macronutrients, you got your protein, your carbohydrates, and your fat. The protein is the most satiating. It's the one that fills you up the most, okay? And that's because it's the hardest, aside from fiber, it's the hardest for your body to digest, to break down. So it quite literally fills your stomach. It's voluminous, okay? It's like, I mean, put it this way. Try eating 3 plain chicken breasts in a row. You're gonna struggle, right? Okay, and it's not because it's calorie dense. It's because it's nutrient dense, because it's protein dense, and it's hard to break down. So high protein diet's really gonna help you when it comes to adhering to that calorie deficits. You're not gonna be as hungry, basically. Then when it comes to the resistance training, when it comes to the strength, when it comes to the muscle, the high protein diet is obviously gonna really help your muscles to repair and to recover as fast as possible. And it's gonna prevent them from atrophying, guys. And that's what we really want. That's what's so important, okay? So the high protein diet, small calorie deficit, continue with the resistance training, but not putting as much emphasis on progressive overload, consistency and patience. And last, but definitely not least, guys, you can probably guess it. Can you guess it? Is sleep. So sleep is like the cornerstone of health, to be honest with you. I used to think of it as like a triangle, and it used to be like sleep, movement, nutrition. But now I realize that it is literally just sleep, nutrition, training. Like, sleep is the most important thing. Like, we really want to focus on getting your sleep absolutely dialed in. And I've done whole other videos on sleep, so I'm not going to go too much into detail on it. If you want, you can go back to my channel, scroll back. I think I've done a video that is quite literally called How to Sleep Better. Gives you all my best advice there. But you really want to make sure that you're consciously focusing and putting your effort into getting perfect's a strong word, high quality and lots of quantity of sleep as well. So minimum 7 hours a night. People always say like 7 to 9 hours. It's like, who the heck is sleeping 9 hours a night? Like, if you are, I am incredibly jealous of you. Please tell me your secrets, because I think 7 hours is perfectly adequate for a healthy adult. And you also want to make sure you're doing a couple of other things. First and foremost, guys, you want to try as much as you can to make sure that you're going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time, within sort of 30 minutes of each other, okay? The reason you want to do that is your circadian rhythm, your brain, it loves regularity. I can't stress this enough. So that really is one of the biggest game changers that people aren't doing. People are, everyone wants to sleep better, right? No one wakes up and goes, oh, I wish I slept worse. Like, that's just not a thing, right? Everyone wants to sleep better on this planet. But one of the best ways you can do that, trust me, and it's not going to kick in straight away, but 4, 5, 6 days, you'll start to notice it, is regularity. I'm not the sleep expert here. Matthew Walker, Andrew Huberman, these guys, go and listen to them. They will tell you the exact same thing. Peter Attia, that's the other one I was going to say. Sleep regularity, okay, guys? And the last thing is a little rule that I invented. It's called the 3-2-1 rule. This is going to help improve your sleep quality. So the 3-2-1 rule is stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed, stop drinking water or, well, anything 2 hours before you go to bed, and try as hard as you might to come off all of screens, laptops, phones, TVs, iPads for 1 hour before you go to bed. Now, I appreciate the third one is like the hardest one. It's also the one that potentially could make the biggest difference, more so because it downregulates your cortisol, it downregulates your stress hormone, okay? But it also helps to, increase the production of melatonin because you're not getting as much blue light from these devices, which is literally what they're emitting. And I appreciate someone's gonna say to me, yeah, but they've all got blue light blocking on. They're just not that good, unfortunately. Maybe the technology will get there one day, but it's not there yet. You can also, I was looking for them, I don't have them on me though, blue light blocking glasses. Don't get the cheapest ones on Amazon. Pay $50, $100, get a good pair. Like ultimately, $100, if this is gonna drastically improve your sleep for the rest of your life, you're gonna make that money back in like a week. Trust me when I say this, because you're so much more productive, you're so much more focused, you feel better in yourself, you've got more testosterone in you, you just feel better, okay? So guys, we covered a lot there. What are we on? About 17 minutes. Small calorie deficit, high protein diet, keep up with the resistance training, be patient, be consistent, prioritize your sleep. Last but very not least, do not focus as much on the scales when it comes to your weight loss. Take lots of progress photos. Measure yourself and your progress on how your clothes are fitting, whether you're getting external validation from other people, because the scales, your body weight will always fluctuate based on so many factors. When you last ate, what you last ate, how hydrated you are, when you last went to the toilet, both for number 1 and number 2. There are so many factors that affect your weight, guys, and there's even more factors, unfortunately, if you are a woman, because again, your menstrual cycle. So guys, woo! I'm gonna breathe. Hopefully that was all really useful for you, but listen, as I said right at the beginning, guys, go into this with the right mindset. If your priority is to lose the weight, great, but put that as your main priority. Accept that you're going to lose a little bit of strength and a little bit of muscle, but that's absolutely fine, because if you hit your primary goal, but you only lose 10% of your strength, then I'd say you've hit your secondary goal as well. And then guess what? You can start to build again, and you're gonna get that strength and that muscle back like that. I'll leave it there, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one, and as always, I'll see you tomorrow.